Let's continue with the Halloween special in our channel. Today, we're gonna be talking about Ed and Lorraine Warren, a couple from the US from Bridgeport in Connecticut who investigated paranormal events. Ed was a renowned demonologist and writer of several books on paranormal activity. Lorraine is a clairvoyant and a professional medium. According to Ed, his obsession with paranormal events started when he was a child. He lived in a house where strange things happened at night. The doors of his closet would suddenly open, and he claims to have seen faces inside it. This was the trigger of his decision to live his life trying to explain such phenomena. Lorraine Warren says her approach to the paranormal world started when she was 7 and a student at a girls' Catholic school. She started seeing people's auras, a secret that she kept to herself for a long time since nobody would believe her. This changed when she met Ed. They met when they were teenagers at the Colonial Theater in Bridgeport, where Ed was working. They started talking, and when they told each other their childhood secrets, they thought destiny had brought them together. After Ed joined the army, they got married, and when he came back from fighting in the Second World War, they already had a daughter, Judy. Before becoming a researcher, Ed was a painter. He would paint pictures of houses where people heard strange things happened. Many of the owners of those houses would open their doors for them when they tried to sell them the paintings, and they would enter the houses trying to research on their own. After all they saw in these houses, they decided to work on paranormal phenomena for a living, and they created the New England Society for Psychic Research in 1952. This is the oldest ghost hunters group in New England. As time went by, they became one of the most famous couples in the US. They were the researchers in some of the most terrifying events in the history of the US. In their house in Monroe, they have a museum with evil objects from their cases. That museum is blessed by a priest at least once a week. One of the first events that made them famous was the famous doll Raggedy Ann, bought by a nursing student in 1970. When the doll started showing up in weird places or changing its position without having anybody touch it, the girl contacted a medium. The woman said the doll had been possessed by a spirit of a girl called Annabelle Higgins. When the doll started behaving in a more violent way, the student called the Warrens. They discovered there was no Annabelle, and the doll was possessed by an evil entity. The doll is now shut in a museum inside a glass cabinet. In 1971, they researched the Perrons family house in Harrisville, Rhode Island. The Perrons claimed they saw spirits in their house. Ed and Lorraine discovered the house was possessed by a witch, Bathsheba Sheldon, who had lived there during the 19th century. Bathsheba had swore to kill anybody who would go into her territory. Their mysterious stories didn't go unnoticed for Hollywood, and in 2013, they made an adaptation of these cases called The Warren Files or The Conjuring, considered one of the most terrifying movies in history. Another case that moved everybody and made them more famous was the Amityville house. There, a terrible event had taken place in November 1974. Ronald DeFeo Jr., the oldest child of the DeFeos, killed his parents and siblings with a shotgun when they were sleeping. 2 years later, the Lutz were moving into the house and they would stay there for 28 days. George Lutz claimed that there were evil beings in the house and that they heard voices that made them do things against their will. Ironically, DeFeo said in his trial that he killed his family because the voices told him to do it. In the late 70s, the couple moved to Enfield, England, to research on a case about a little girl, Janet Hudson, who said she was possessed. Even though the Warrens said it was true, there are lots of theories saying the girl was only trying to call people's attention. This story never had a clear ending. As it had already happened in previous cases, there was a second adaptation of them, The Conjuring 2. It was as successful as the first one. Since the release of The Conjuring in 2013, there are other 4 successful movies based on real stories related to Ed and Lorraine Warren, and the saga doesn't seem to have an end, at least for now. During their more than 50 years of work, they investigated countless cases around the US. They have given talks to students and they appeared in TV programs talking about their experiences. The Warrens never asked for any money for their domestic services. Eventually, Ed died of natural causes on August 23, 2006, and Lorraine quit the job. Once retired, she was the advisor during the filming of the 2 movies about her life, appearing briefly in the first part. The credibility of their work varies depending on the person, but something is unquestionable. The life of this couple was full of adventures, mystery, and dark presences. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode.